Valentine's Day coming. St. Valentine's Day.
I'm sending you a Valentine, and hopes that you're still mine. And if that Valentine doesn't reach you, it's okay.
Now, who is that? Norm?
No, Michael Henderson
Michael
and
Henderson.
Gene Carnes on that too, but you know,
All right.
we're a talk show.
Don's an old DJ. See, he let music play the whole hour. And
Yeah, Don's in love.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, see, I see you were able to drive today by yourself.
I've been driving for a while. Thank you. We'll walk past that.
We'll walk past that. Let's get
so tomorrow is the Valentine's Day, so does it really reflect true romance, or is it a retail hype? That's all I wanted to ask. That's the question I have.
A little of each, you know.
More of the latter.
Yeah, more of the latter. Speaking of beautiful people, we have a very beautiful lady on the line, Alderman Sandi Jackson.
Let's send her a Valentine.
Prettiest Alderman in the city council.
Alderman in the city council. So let's bring her on.
Forgive me,
And
Congressman.
the smartest.
Forgive me, Congressman Jackson.
And you could have seen that live, folks.
Oh,
you're streaming live, so
he gets the
make
blow
sure we
kisses.
keep that tape, Alonzo.
Yeah, he gets the blow kisses.
I want an 18-minute gap.
The missing gap. It's like Nixon in here.
Yeah, he gets the blow kisses.
Good morning, Alderman Jackson. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen.
morning,
I
Alderman.
am fine. I'm listening to you all's wonderful bass voices. I'm wondering which one of you is the Barry White in the room. You all sound so wonderful.
Ernesto dos Reyes Borges.
Today it's Ernesto. Most weeks
Mark,
is
Mark,
me.
most of the time it's Mark. Mark has a deeper voice in the room.
Oh,
Yes.
well, what a pleasure to wake up and to be in the company of you three wonderful gentlemen. I got to tell you, I consider myself very, very lucky indeed, because you all are so incredibly special, and it's great to be on with good friends. Don, good to hear your voice.
Always.
Mark, always good to hear you. And Ernesto, of course, always good to be with you as well. And let me be the first woman to offer an early happy Valentine's Day to you, gentlemen, and the WVON listening family.
Well,
thank you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I get to see her all the time, so
I
serve on her real estate advisory committee.
Twice, 3 times a year, maybe 4
so I
times
get
a
to
year.
get a couple of hugs a week.
Yeah.
I go to her meetings.
Not very long, lengthy meetings, but they're good meetings because we really try to give some good information out.
Absolutely.
Well,
about
in fact,
what's
I've been in a couple of your seminars, Alderman,
Yes.
that you've given. I've been one of the panelists or what have you.
Yes.
Always my pleasure.
Yes, and we're always so happy to have you. Always so happy to have you. And do let me take this opportunity to congratulate Melody on the award last night. Fantastic. She is always so incredibly deserving and so hardworking.
Well, that she is.
Yes, indeed. And Miguel, good to have you in studio.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you as well.
Hope you're doing well.
Much better, I promise you.
All right. As we know, we have an election coming up on February the 22nd. I hope everyone is registered and everyone comes out to vote so people can vote early. Yeah, you can vote early if you care to. And everybody should come out. As Alderman Jackson has been Alderman now for how long? This is your
3.5 years. It'll be 4 years on May 27th. If I am returned to office, which I hope we're victorious and successful in that.
Okay. Well, and then, of course, we have Miguel de Valle, who is our city clerk. And you'll be running in that. You'll be running citywide, though, right?
Well, I ran citywide
4 years ago,
right?
So as clerk, treasurer, and mayor or citywide offices.
I came in almost at the same time as Alderman Jackson,
Right.
a few months before.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about? Mark, you brought the Alderman on.
well,
I know we
Alderman,
had the snow problem over there that
Yeah.
was bad temporarily. I imagine all the streets have been cleaned up by now.
Yeah, we're good and clean now. Things actually have returned very much to normal. And if you can imagine this, we're now thinking about possible flooding in certain areas because of the increase in temperature. I think we're about to hit 40 in the middle of the week and maybe even 50 by next weekend. So we go from one extreme to the other. But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for having me on today. Just to talk briefly, I know you've got a full agenda with Miguel de Valle on the show, so I want to just touch upon some things. And I want to thank your listeners for being so incredibly patient during that slow blizzard. I mean, it was unprecedented in the sense that we did receive 21 inches of snow. And indeed, in some areas, like my ward, that's a lakefront ward, we also received lake effect snow, which gave us even more snow. Now, we all know that Chicago is the city that works, and many of us have grown accustomed to the city moving snow rather quickly. But in this instances, we saw areas that did not receive, at least in my estimation, the same kind of treatment that other areas received. Now, let me take a step back and simply say that I believe that, life and limb are far more important than property. And so with respect to the hundreds of people who were stuck on Lakeshore Drive, I do believe we have to do and did do everything we could to get those folks off the drive. My problem with the process, which I think was flawed in a sense, is that we had plows that were taken from areas like mine and sent down there, whereas other areas did not have plows taken from them at all, which means a lakefront community like mine ends up beginning its snow removal process fairly late. And so you end up with people who are suffering and are put at risk for ambulances and other emergency vehicles not being able to access them in the event of an emergency. And so, my husband and I got in our truck and plowed around and commandeered a snowplow, and I got in it and rode around to try to help free some of the streets. But I got to tell you, gentlemen, it was tough going, and it was dicey because we had a lot of disabled cars out there stuck in the middle of the street that hampered the process.
Well, we did see that. I saw that in the paper where, you were in the snow, in the truck.
Well, she was in the snow truck on multiple days.
Yeah,
that was
I
a clip.
saw
But
that. What a trooper
I was down at
she
the office,
is.
so she was going out 2 or 3 days.
But I guess we have to, plan for things like that. I mean, I was here for the snow of '67, so I don't care what people say. This was not as bad as '67. Not close.
Not even close.
No.
But
Not bad as '79.
But I think we were better prepared this time.
I think we were better prepared, but the reason why I called for the investigation by the city's inspector general is because I think we need to have an analysis of what went on with respect to the deployment of the snow trucks throughout the city.
Well, you're right.
People say, well, every ward gets the same number of trucks. But we know, as we do with crime, that things don't happen evenly across the city.
Well, who makes that decision?
The Streets and Sands Commissioner.
The commissioner does. Okay.
Yeah, and then it funnels down through the various divisions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the public should have a fair sense of how that process works. It should not be working behind closed doors in secret. This is something that should be aired out in public so that when we face another storm like this, we're prepared. But also, you all, this is very critical as well. In the event we face a crisis like 9/11, and we know we have got to get emergency vehicles in, we've got to get people out of the city, we've got to get the word out to our residents. We need to ensure that our processes are sound. And we're making the best use of our resources.
Oh, you did
through our
great.
process.
Well, this is like a segue into Mr. Valle,
Right?
Since he's running for mayor, and how you would make those changes, and of course, I would imagine a lot of that should come from the city council also.
I'd like to share a couple of observations. Even though I'm in the 5th ward, the adjacent ward, I received the updates from Sandi, and as recent as Friday, we were getting updates via phone. It was awesome.
Really?
She
By
gave
phone?
us phone updates on
You know,
her voice message.
The 7th
I
Ward
mean,
Alderman's
way she
office
worked
is
the
very
first
well
night.
organized.
Got it going on,
Night,
Got it going
I was
on.
getting phone updates with Sandy
Really?
on the other end, telling us about what they're doing and how they're doing, and advising seniors and elderly and people to take care of one another. And as recent as Thursday or Friday, we were still getting updates
Really?
from
What
this
did you do
lady.
that with a robo calling or
Well,
something?
we do-
Yeah, we call about 33,000 people. We have that number within our database.
see.
And I felt it was important to let people know that now's the time to be a community and not to turn on each other, but to work with each other. And so if we had seniors or disabled people within the ward, to please try to dig them out, but to also, you know, be patient, because this was a huge snowstorm.
Right.
And so it was going to take us longer than normal, but I also wanted people to know every day what was going on, because I'd rather be guilty of giving too much information than none at all.
It was encouraging and informative. And I have one question. The Tribune WGN poll cites that 73% of Chicagoans approve of the snow removal efforts, while 22% disapprove, and about 5% had no opinion. Do you agree with that at all?
All right.
I think in some areas, some people were wildly enthusiastic about it. But if they polled in my area singularly, I think you'd find some people who were very discouraged because they saw snow drifts up to 7 feet and were immobile for far too long, longer than they should have been, because of the redeployment of those trucks. And so I think it's going to be spotty, depending on the wards that are pulled and the size of the sample.
Well, let's hope that we have no more snowstorms this season. And
Let's keep our fingers
let's keep our fingers
crossed for
crossed.
that, gentlemen. Let's
Okay.
do.
All right. Alderman Jackson, good luck to you in the upcoming, I guess you have a number of opponents. I don't know all of them. I know
We're running
you're
against 4 people, but I tell you what, I'm very, very hopeful. I think the electorate is getting out and they're taking advantage of early vote, and that's always important because so many people sacrificed in order for us to be able to have this convenience to vote 2 weeks ahead of the stated date. So I would simply encourage people to get out and vote and exercise their civic duty.
Okay.
And remember that people fought hard for them to have that right.
That's right. Okay, thank you so much, Alderman
You're so
Sandy
welcome.
Jackson, for joining us, Alderman of the 7th Ward, City of Chicago.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen, and happy
Thank you, my
Valentine's Day.
Okay, happy
Thank you.
Valentine's Day.
Happy
Thanks
Valentine's
for
Day to you.
calling.
And then you're going to have to come back and talk with us about the USX Steel project that's going to be that development at some point in the next
If you
few
will
weeks.
have me, I will come on and we can spend an hour talking about it.
All right.
Okay. All right. Jobs.
Jobs,
Thanks.
jobs for
That's
40
right.
years to come.
That's right.
Indeed.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a great day.
You too.
Say hello to the congressman for us. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back with our city clerk, Miguel de Valle, and candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago. But first, I got to tell you a little bit about my upcoming event. I had an event last week, and we've got one coming up on February the 24th. Thursday, February 24th. Mark your calendar, folks. It's our Bill Buster's Law Offices of Ernesto Borges and Bill Buster's Financial Survival Revival. This one's going to be at one of the great churches, a mega church out in Maywood, the Rock of Ages Baptist Church. Rock of Ages Baptist Church. Pastor Wiley is out there. It's just a wonderful facility, a wonderful place of worship at 1309 West Madison. We're going to be talking about debt relief, save your house, credit repair, lower interest rates, foreclosure defense, household budgeting, money management. We've got some wonderful people coming out. Curtis Mundy, Lisa Miner, your gospel sister Pam Morris is moderating, and it's going to be a wonderful night from 6 to 9. We have giveaways, computer giveaways, all kinds of other gifts that we give to people, and we feed everybody. So make sure that you mark your calendar for February 24th, 6 to 9 p.m. Rock of Ages in Maywood. It's going to be a great event. So let's have a commercial break, then we'll do it. We got another sponsor. We got a sponsor, folks, other than Bill Buster's, and then we'll come back with our city clerk, Miguel de Valle. Back in 60 seconds. Don't change.